played by the rules. You were honest, you were fair, you were patient, you showed up with integrity. You followed the social contract. You gave people the benefit of the doubt. You assumed good faith. You worked harder. You stayed clean. You took the high road. And what did it get you? Defeat, humiliation, stolen credit, stolen time, stolen respect, while they broke every rule and took the prize. Society told you that cheaters never prosper. That was a lie, designed to keep you compliant. In the real world, the ruthless win because the nice guys are fighting with their hands tied. You were programmed to believe that fairness is noble, but fairness is only a virtue when both sides honor it. And the people who beat you? They never did. Cut the ropes. Today, I'm handing you the rule book of the Dark Triad. It's time to stop fighting fair and start winning. Read that twice. Let it settle in your chest. Machiavelli didn't write that line for saints. He wrote it for survivors. He wrote it for people who live in a world where power is not optional. It's the only currency that protects you. And here's the forbidden question nobody wants you to ask. Why is your morality the very thing that keeps you weak? Because your moral code was installed by people who benefit from your compliance. Your moral code was installed by institutions that need you predictable. Your moral code was installed by manipulators who know that guilt is the easiest chain. And every time you take the high road, you are not ascending. You are stepping aside. You are letting the dirty players run the board. This video is not about becoming a villain. This video is about strategic dominance. It's about conflict psychology. It's about asymmetric warfare, fighting when you're outgunned and still winning. It's about Machiavellian strategy designed for the intelligent person who has been too principled for too long. Today, I'm going to give you 7 laws, 7 dark psychology principles that will allow you to destroy dirty players without becoming one. You will learn when to fight. You will learn when to withdraw. You will learn when to go nuclear. And by the end of this video, you will understand something that will change how you walk into every room. You are not being mean. You are being effective. If these ideas resonate with you, hit that subscribe button for more top-tier content. Also, drop a "no mercy" in the comments so I know you're ready. Let's dive in. First law. Fairness is a lie invented by the weak. You need to hear this, even if it offends the part of you that still wants the world to make sense. Fairness is not a law of nature. Fairness is not embedded in the fabric of reality. Fairness is a social contract, and contracts only work when both parties honor them. But you have been in situations where the other person ripped up the contract. They lied, they manipulated, they gaslit, they stole, they slandered, they played victim while waging war. And you tried to stay fair, you tried to stay calm, you tried to be the bigger person, and they destroyed you. Not because you were weak, because you were still operating under rules they abandoned the moment those rules became inconvenient. This is the morality trap. You believe that moral behavior will eventually be rewarded. You believe that karma will catch them. You believe that the universe is just. It is not. The universe is indifferent. Power dynamics are not fair. Social hierarchies are not fair. Narcissistic supply chains are not fair. And the moment you accept that, you stop being a hostage to false hope. So let me be clear. The honorable loser is not a hero. The honorable loser is someone who chose principle over survival and paid the price. And I'm not asking you to abandon all morality. I'm asking you to deploy morality strategically, not universally. You do not owe fairness to people who weaponize it. Machiavelli didn't write for saints, he wrote for survivors. And if you are waiting for karma to hit them, you will be waiting forever. You are karma. This sounds cruel. It is. But so is losing everything you worked for. Now, how do you fight when you are outgunned? Second law, when you can't match their resources, you match their psychology and exploit it. Asymmetric warfare is the art of winning when you are weaker. It's how guerrilla fighters defeat empires. It's how startups dismantle monopolies. It's how one person with clarity defeats a narcissist with an army of enablers. Here's the principle. You don't fight them on their terms. You don't fight them on their terrain. You don't fight them with their weapons. You fight them where they are blind. And dirty players, manipulators, office politicians, toxic partners, social climbers, they all have the same blindness. They assume you will stay predictable. They assume you will keep absorbing. They assume you will keep explaining. They assume you will keep trying to win them over. So the first move in asymmetric warfare is this: stop being readable. You stop responding the way you used to. You stop defending yourself when they bait you. You stop offering information they didn't ask for. You stop making yourself available for casual damage. You become strategically opaque. And here's what happens. Their attacks start missing. Their provocations land in silence. Their expectations shatter because you just changed the rules of engagement without announcing it. Let me give you a concrete example. They send you a passive-aggressive text designed to make you defend yourself. Old you writes 3 paragraphs explaining your position. New you, noted. That's it. No explanation, no emotion, no reward. You just denied them narcissistic supply. You just broke their feedback loop. You just made yourself expensive to manipulate. This is conflict psychology at its cleanest. You are not escalating. You are withdrawing cooperation from their game. And withdrawal is one of the most powerful forms of power dynamics control. Ask yourself, would they show you mercy? The answer is no. So why are you still showing them predictability? Law number 3 is controversial, but it's the only way to stop a gaslighter. Third law. Use confusion and silence to destabilize them. Gaslighters, manipulators, and dirty players thrive on clarity. They need to know where you stand. They need to know what you're thinking. They need to know what hurts you. Because once they know, they can control the battlefield. So the fog of war is simple. You deny them clarity. You stop telling them how you feel. You stop explaining your decisions. You stop defending your boundaries with logic. You just enforce. No preamble, no negotiation, no softening. When they ask, why are you being distant? You say, I'm not. When they say, you've changed, you say, have I? When they demand an explanation for why you won't engage, you give them nothing, because explanation is cooperation. And you are no longer cooperating with people who use your honesty as a weapon. This is Machiavellian strategy. This is dark psychology. This is how you create strategic dominance without raising your voice. You become fog. And here's what the fog does. It makes them second-guess. It makes them paranoid. It makes them reveal themselves while you stay invisible. You might think silence is passive, but wait until you see how Law 6 weaponizes it. But before that, you need to understand the performance. Fourth law, look small to hide the dagger. There is a secret loophole in their psychology that this law exploits. Dirty players are arrogant. They assume that because you've been nice, you are incapable of ruthlessness. They assume that because you've been quiet, you are afraid. They assume that because you've been fair, you are weak. Let them. Because strategic feigned weakness is not submission. It is camouflage. You let them think they are winning. You let them overextend. You let them get comfortable. You let them make mistakes. And while they are celebrating their victory, you are gathering information. You are documenting. You are building your case. You are preparing your exit or your strike. This is asymmetric warfare at its most surgical. Machiavelli called this the art of appearing weak when you are strong. Sun Tzu called it looking like prey while preparing to be the predator. And it works because dirty players are not strategic. They are reactive. They are impulsive. They are drunk on their own short-term wins. So you give them the short-term win. You lose the battle. You let them feel superior. And then, when they are no longer watching, you dismantle the structure they were standing on. This connects back to the morality trap. If you don't get this, you'll fail here. If you try to win honorably in real time, they will see you coming. But if you lose gracefully and strike later, they never see it coming. The most dangerous mistake you can make is what I'll cover in Section 5, trying to hurt them while still caring about their feelings. You can't. Which brings us to the mirror. Fifth law, reflect their toxicity back at double intensity. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Some people only understand pain, not because they are stupid, because they are insulated. They have spent their entire lives manipulating, lying, and taking and getting away with it. They have trained the people around them to absorb the damage quietly. So when you try to set a boundary with words, they hear suggestion. When you try to communicate your needs, they hear negotiation. When you try to explain how they hurt you, they hear opportunity, because to them your vulnerability is ammunition. So the mirror of pain is not about revenge, it's about consequence. You stop absorbing what they do. You reflect it back immediately, precisely, and with amplification. If they disrespect you publicly, you make it uncomfortable publicly. If they interrupt you, you stop speaking and stare until the room notices. If they forget your boundary, you enforce it so cleanly that the cost becomes obvious. You are not being cruel, you are being a mirror, and mirrors don't lie. This is where dark psychology becomes a defensive weapon. You are using their own behavior as the blueprint for their discomfort. You are not inventing cruelty, you are returning it. The moment you feel guilty is the moment they win. Kill that guilt. Because guilt is how they kept you predictable. Guilt is the chain they installed. Guilt is the program you need to delete. And now we go deeper, because the mirror is active. But there is something more dangerous than action. There is zero. Sixth law, the power of absolute non-reaction. This is the law that makes you untouchable. Emotional zero means this: you do not react to provocation, you do not react to insults, you do not react to guilt trips, you do not react to tantrums, you do not react to threats. You observe, you calculate, you respond if you choose to, on your terms, on your timeline, with your strategy, but you do not react. Because reaction is what they want. Reaction is the reward. Reaction is how they know they still have access to your nervous system, so you cut the wire. When they bait you, you go quiet. When they provoke you, you go still. When they try to pull you into chaos, you become stone. And here's what happens: they escalate, because they are used to your reaction being the proof of their power. So when you stop reacting, they panic, they try harder, they get louder, they get messier, and you stay at zero. This is power dynamics at its purest. You are forcing them to empty their arsenal while you remain unmoved, and eventually they run out. This is not being passive. This is strategic invincibility. This is conflict psychology weaponized. You are not fighting them. You are letting them fight themselves. I'll show you exactly what to say when they try to guilt trip you in a minute. But first, you need to understand the public battlefield. Because some battles are not fought in private. Seventh law, use social leverage to dismantle their reputation. This law is nuclear adjacent. This law is surgical. This law is only for when private boundaries have failed and the person continues to harm you or others. Public execution does not mean cancel culture. Public execution means this: you stop protecting their image, because here's what you've been doing. You've been absorbing their toxicity privately while they maintain their public persona. You've been keeping their secrets. You've been making excuses for them. You've been letting them look good while you suffer in silence. That ends. When someone repeatedly harms you and refuses accountability, you stop being their PR team. You stop lying for them. You stop covering for them. You stop softening the truth when people ask. You tell the truth, calmly, factually, without emotion. They said they would do X, they didn't. This is the third time. They claim they care about fairness. Here's what they did. You are not slandering, you are documenting. And here's the dark truth about Machiavellian strategy. Reputation is the only thing dirty players care about. They don't care about your pain. They don't care about fairness. They don't care about growth. They care about how they are perceived. So when you stop protecting that perception, you remove their most valuable asset. This is strategic dominance. This is asymmetric warfare. This is how you fight someone who has more social power than you, by making their power expensive to maintain. Once you master this, you won't need to fight often. Your presence will be enough warning. But there is one final law, the one you use when every other law has failed. Don't use law narrate unless you are ready to burn the bridge forever. Eighth law, when to destroy the relationship entirely. This is the law nobody wants to talk about, because we've been taught that cutting people off is immature. We've been taught that walking away is giving up. We've been taught that burning bridges is something you'll regret. But sometimes the bridge needs to burn, not because you're angry, because you're strategic. The nuclear option is this. You remove someone from your life completely. No explanation, no closure, no final conversation. You block, you delete, you stop responding, you stop existing in their world. And you never go back. This is not cruelty. This is self-preservation. Because some people are not fixable. Some relationships are not worth saving. Some battles are not worth fighting. And the most powerful move you can make is to stop playing. Here's how you know it's time for the nuclear option. They have violated the same boundary 3 times. They have lied when confronted with evidence. They have made you doubt your perception of reality. They have used your vulnerability as a weapon. They have made you feel small in rooms where you built the foundation. When those things happen, you don't negotiate. You don't give them one more chance. You don't explain why you're leaving. You just leave. Because explanation is an invitation to manipulation. Closure is a trap. The final conversation is where they rewrite history, so you deny them that opportunity. You are not being mean. You are being effective. And here's what happens after you go nuclear. They will try to hoover you back. They will apologize. They will promise change. They will play victim. They will recruit mutual friends to guilt you. You stay at 0 because you already made the calculation. And the calculation was clear. This person is a net negative. This relationship costs more than it gives. This battle is not worth your life force. So you walked. And walking is not weakness. Walking is power. Machiavelli didn't write for saints, he wrote for survivors. And survival sometimes means cutting off the infected limb before it kills the body. You are now armed. The world is different when you have a sword. You are no longer the honorable loser who plays by rules that don't exist. You are the ruthless victor who understands that fairness is a luxury, not a strategy. You've learned the 7 laws, the morality trap, asymmetric warfare, the fog of war, strategic feigned weakness, the mirror of pain, emotional 0, the public execution, the nuclear option. These are not suggestions, these are weapons. And I'm not telling you to use them on everyone. I'm telling you to have them. Because the moment you are armed, you change how people calculate you. The moment you stop being predictable, you stop being a target. The moment you stop absorbing damage, you stop receiving it. So here's your final challenge. Pick one battle this week. Apply law number 3, the fog of war. Stop explaining, stop defending, stop being readable, and watch what happens. Drop no mercy in the comments if you're ready to stop losing to people who never deserved to win. Subscribe if you're ready to join the ranks of the formidable, the people who understand that power is not given, it's taken. Winning the battle is one thing, walking alone is another. Watch this next to learn why your isolation is your power. See what others miss, know what others fear, become who others can't.